You know
so you have to basically pass a Turing test. Is
Yeah.
what you're describing as a Turing test. It basically it asks a bunch of questions and it determines based on the answers whether or not it's thinking for itself or if it's repeating things it's heard before.
Correct.
If it can trick you into making you think you're talking to a person, it passes a Turing test AI. Fuck that. Hey, Andy.
What?
What did the human say to the robot?
I don't know what.
Rust in hell, bitch.
Oh, you're
Ah.
a dad.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Hey!
We're starting this one with a pun.
Oh, we sure as hell are. I mean, we could always sing Mr. Roboto. It's the only Japanese that Andy knows.
He doesn't even know it that well.
Tomo arigato,
Close.
Mr.
Roboto.
Bob.
Mr. Bob.
The
Oh
robot.
my God, we can talk about Bob tonight too. Anyway,
Bad.
welcome back to the Hateful Geeks. I'm one of your many hosts, Phil.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
Thank you very much for tuning in again this week. And we just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you like like the show at all, if you like what we do, if you just like staring at us on YouTube, all three of you, just please hit that like button. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on I guess you can follow us on Facebook if you're like our age.
Spotify too.
Yeah, follow us
We
on
are on
Spotify and
Spotify.
throw us on iTunes or wherever you get your iPod apps. Just leave us a little review or a 5-star. Don't leave any 1-stars. I saw whoever did that, and
We're coming
just-
for you.
I know who you are, so don't worry about it. It's
We've
cool.
hoarded ourselves everywhere.
Coors.
But anyway, yeah, we really appreciate any of your support. So on with this week's topic, gentlemen,
Yes.
artificial intelligence. We've alluded to this a lot in the past. We've had like little snippets here and there based on whatever movie or shit we're watching, but we never really got in depth here. And I've been asked by a couple people, like, what's your problem with AI? Because I tend to like get on a soapbox when somebody brings it up.
You never.
Yeah, me no. What? I have very strong feelings about this, partially because I work for a company that does AI. Watson. You've heard. Anyway, but yeah, the main point here is we're gonna get this on the table. We're gonna get all of our feelings out, so we never have to talk about this shit ever again. So this week on the Hateful Geeks, artificial intelligent robots, sentient creatures of the future, pro or con? Andy, how do you feel about robots that think for themselves?
I am for them working for me. But don't you dare take my job. Because I know it's going to happen. Don't take my job.
So like the super right wings aspect of I like them robots as long as they do what I tell them and don't take my dirt.
Don't take my job.
You really are Randy Marsh brought to life, aren't you?
I thought this was America.
What are you going to do?
So what? So you're looking for what? You're looking for like, what is it? What's it? Sally from the Jetsons?
Rosie.
Rosie.
So I was going to
Sally.
ask you, what is your first introduction to AI? And mine was Rosie from the Jetsons.
The Flight of the Navigator.
I remember.
Compliance.
Yeah, I remember playing Navigator. I'd say Star Wars. A lot of droids.
Yeah.
Tim?
I mean, I'd probably say Star Wars or Jetsons, yeah.
So we all basically, I mean, if you've existed for at least the last, 40 years, probably longer than that even. Hell, I mean, when did 2001: A Space Odyssey come out? How about
70.
Fritz Lang's Metropolis, for that matter? If you've been alive since the 30s,
No.
you're familiar with the concept of artificial intelligent robots. That a robot with a quote, and I am doing massive air quotes here, a robot with a soul. A robot you're supposed to feel bad about killing,
Right.
or it has a right. When does a robot have a right to life?
Does it have emotions? Does it understand emotions or have emotions?
There are animals that can fake emotions. I don't consider emotions a staple of having a soul. So let's get that out of the way first, gentlemen. Let's discuss what in our minds currently constitutes artificial intelligence?
Well, I think for artificial intelligence, it has to be able to think for itself, right? You can't have any input to like make it derive certain actions, right? Like
Machine
Turing
learning,
test.
self-learning.
machine learning is a form of AI.
Yeah.
I do that for work sometimes. You have, you essentially are teaching this robot to learn by rewarding it and punishing it. I mean, it's a weird system, but even that has inputs, right? You are delivering these inputs
The
to
data
that
to
system.
it,
Yeah.
yes.
So AI would have to be a completely, I don't know, sentient.
Autonomous.
Like it has to know. It has to know what it is. Like to know itself. You know
So
what I
you have
mean?
to basically pass a Turing test. Is
Yeah.
what you're describing as a Turing test. It basically it asks a bunch of questions and it determines based on the answers whether or not it's thinking for itself or if it's repeating things it's heard before.
Correct.
If it can trick you into making you think you're talking to a person, it passes a Turing test AI. Fuck that. That's bare fucking minimum for me even to start thinking about it being alive. Next. Who else? Like what else? Give me some more rules. What else what has to be for it to be a live robot?
I mean, I'm kind of with Sweeney where like it's got to think for itself.
And like you were saying, self-aware.
Yeah, self-aware.
It needs to know what it is, but at the same point, think it's something like Data from Star Trek Next Generation is a perfect example of AI. Like he understood what he was, but he wanted to be human. He wanted to experience emotions. He wanted.
Well, how many AI do you see that always want to be human? Most of them want to destroy all humans.
Data
And
didn't.
Data is like the perfect scenario of AI who's like, gee whiz, what's a cat? I'll name it Spot. Let's be friends.
Right. Well, like C-3PO didn't want to destroy.
No,
R2-D2 didn't want to destroy.
until he
You
got
put a
his head on
restraining
it.
bolt on R2D2 and C3PO though.
Well, they were taken off.
But I can put another restraining
Sure,
bolt
you could.
onto them.
But you
My
could do it
point
with
is,
any
I
AI.
can't put a restraining bolt on like a person. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase
Whoa,
that.
whoa.
Please. Technically, you can put a restraining bolt on a person.
I was going to say
just
the past would like to disagree with that.
it's super frowned upon. It's
Right.
wrong. It's ethically wrong. I don't feel bad about putting a restraining bolt on my toaster. Do you understand what I'm saying? R2D2,
Yeah.
he literally like bangs like the Bespin space station and then like goes and fixes your hyperdrive. He's
Right.
literally a walking toolbox.
Yeah, but it's still AI.
Do you chill with R2D2? Does R2D2 have kids?
Well,
if
some
you
people
turn-
don't have kids either, so you're not going to hang out with somebody else that doesn't have kids?
Yeah.
You can
What-
literally like
I
you can
feel
take away
personally
all
attacked.
of his memories and then he's nothing. Look what they did to C3PO.
I mean, yeah, but again, you can do it to a person too.
I mean, I can hit a button and give them amnesia.
Or you can give them a lobotomy.
3PO
Fair
is
enough.
another
No, fair
example
enough.
of what I would like to use.
Right.
I would love to have
It's a service droid.
a service droid that is fluent in bocce.
6
Come
million
on.
different languages.
Bocce.
Bocce?
I thought of the game bocce ball. I
Yeah.
was like, bocce.
What?
It's in the
That's-
movie. He
I know.
That's a
I just thought of bocce ball when you said it.
Okay, I understand. So you want a robot that like cleans up the house, fixes your bike, goes to work for you.
Fix my
That's your
car.
AI. That's your
I have a
prime.
Roomba.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You want a Roomba that like beeps at you.
and could hold a conversation with me. I wouldn't mind having something that could, like you said, makes you think you're speaking to another human being.
No, I'm all right, thanks. If my Roomba starts talking to me, I'm destroying it.
You are an
I don't need
asshole.
my Roomba to have thoughts or feelings. It just needs to clean my floor.
Yeah, like if that Roomba's going around and just like, oh hello Tim, and
But
I'm
like a
just
3PO. Like I would like to converse with a 3PO, especially since you're my translation droid.
And I mean, and we even in Star Wars, if we're talking about just Star Wars right now, they even learn droid languages based upon how they react, and they kind of over the years interpret that, right? So I mean, even if you can't talk to it, you still understand. It's like a pet almost, right? Like you can't understand your dog, but you know what it needs most of the time.
I still, once again, that's still subhuman to me. That's not like, let me put it this way. If like my wife and my cat were like hanging from like different sides of a bridge, the Spider-Man Green Goblin scenario,
Sure,
I'm getting my wife. Sorry,
Yeah.
kitty.
right, understandable.
Hi, kitty.
But I mean, like, so have you guys played Detroit Become Human?
No,
I haven't
that's a
yet.
game I've
It's-
actually avoided.
It's on my it's in my library because
It's a very good game. I know you guys like the story-based games where you like pick your own like ending, and as you go through, you make relationships. and
Yeah,
stuff.
like choose your own adventure
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk when that
Yeah,
comes out. But
absolutely. Well, in Detroit Become Human, they have this. There is this line of like they have all these service droids. That's what they're there for specifically is workers or partners or babysitters. All these things, right? Well, eventually they start learning about like bad people. Bad people make them make these decisions to try to save other humans. So if an AI has the ability to understand that a person is bad and can save a good person, then are they still subhuman?
I'm sorry. Okay. We're talking about Skynet here. You guys are talking
that's
about
like the extremist version.
no, yeah, you guys are talking about like, oh man, he's my super robot pal. He's Astro Boy.
Right.
We're like having adventures and shit. Until the day that it looks at you as the fucking virus that's destroying the planet and screwing up everything for its robot kindreds, enslaving it so it does shit like clean your floor.
Well, that's the thing is like you're taking the other extreme,
Yeah.
right? Like
To
why
me, that'll
does it have
never
to
happen.
be that way? Why does it have to go to that extreme?
Because it's the logical it's the Cro-Magnon argument.
It is.
When Homo sapien showed up, Homo not so sapien like immediately went extinct.
Right.
They were either breeded out or killed.
Understandable.
It's the same thing. When robots hit a certain point, you think R2D2 hasn't looked at like any of the Skywalkers been like, if I just kill him right now, I could save so many people some trouble.
I don't think so.
No.
Because he's not really intelligent.
Right.
He's just
But that's what I'm
like
saying.
a Teddy Ruxpin with wheels.
To me, that level of Sky will never happen because humans will always be the ones that create the data that they input into the code that they write. Nobody's ever going to create something that's just like so free will that it's like it's going to murder us.
I mean, why not? It's every scientist's goal to hit that limit of artificial intelligence. Why wouldn't you want to be the guy who developed the machine that started thinking for itself and then started thinking for us and then started thinking quite less of us?
And that may happen, right? But why does it have to come to an apocalyptic end every time?
So either, sir, dude, it's the Sentinel equation. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like look at Short Circuit, for example.
Sure.
Let's take a look at like a really fun, kind of sweet AI movie. Johnny Five, struck by lightning, but he was a military robot, right?
Sure.
He had like guns and shit on him.
Mhm.
In the second one, he even chases that guy Balky, like on a giant crane or some shit.
Right.
I don't know. My point is that he could read like whole books in seconds, right?
Right.
Eventually Johnny Five is going to hit a level of like intelligence that it just doesn't consider us more than fleas.
It could
That's
do that,
just natural.
or the same argument, right? You could have them looking down on us, or it could try to help the situation instead of just.
You always see the beginning of these cute movies. It's always the first like a little bit, but then it always becomes Terminator, Sweeney. It's always Terminator.
It's not always Terminator.
No, Wally saves mankind.
Wally saves mankind.
Brings him back to Earth.
Detroit Become Human. You have the peaceful option. You don't have to go full militant.
Excuse me. The villain in Wall-E is the AI of the spaceship.
Right, but the other
Remember?
AI, I understand that's a bad AI.
So there's good AI and bad AI.
Apparently.
We should have no AI if that's the case. Because we just played God.
If there's even 1%,
Then we shouldn't have people either, because there's good people and bad people.
Well, we're already here and we own the planet. You really want us to
We
be
don't-
like, here you go, machines? You really just want to be like, I don't want to be the apex life on this earth anymore?
But what if the machine could figure out how to solve all the issues and does so? Instead of wiping out human, it finds a way.
So you're saying a perfectly benign, benevolent AI
Why not?
that does everything like to basically do quantum mechanics to figure out how to make human life better for everyone.
Sure. If you can have one extreme, why can't you have the other?
So you basically just gave your made a machine god, and now you worship machine god.
I'm not
Fuck
worshiping
that.
it.
I bow before no metal, motherfucker, sweetie.
Not worshiping it, but actually like working together and finding solutions.
But eventually, the solution is going to be the final one to get rid of humans.
You're just saying that because you're a negative person.
Don't get personal here, motherfucker. This is not about me being a negative
I'm
person.
just saying we all know there's balance, right? There's always balance. So if you can have one extreme, you can have the other.
I don't know a programmer on planet Earth that's like the perfect programmer. They're gonna make some shit like HAL 9000, and then
Yeah, and
some
then they
corporate
just-
asshole is gonna be like, whatever you do, you can't tell these guys the truth, and that's like against the point of an AI that always is supposed to tell you the truth.
Right.
And then what does he do? He kills the fucking crew. That's what happens.
And then you just launch an EMP
will make
and
the
destroy
machines
it.
fucked up.
Right. I mean, we always have a way to get rid of any machine possible.
Do we?
Electromagnetic pulse completely destroys any technology.
I mean, what if it uploads itself to a satellite?
Then you destroy the satellite.
Well, if it keeps bouncing around, there's like 5 million satellites out there.
What if it just keeps Ultroning itself? And
Yeah,
just,
dude. That's what you get. That's a great one. We're all big Marvel fans. Ultron.
And they
Tony
destroyed
Stark.
Ultron, didn't they?
I'm going to put a suit of armor around the Earth. I made Ultron. Sorry, guys.
Well, Hank Pym made Ultron, but
And the comics.
MCU.
We're
I know.
talking about
I
Marvel
know.
for right now.
But even then, people were able to limit his access, right? Even in the movie, they were able to narrow him into one area. And
Do you feel that Ultron actually was alive, though? Do you feel like Ultron gets like a pad? Do you think Ultron has a soul?
well,
Do you feel bad if you kill an Ultron?
he had an Infinity Stone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make Vision.
Yeah, he was.
I'm with you on this aspect. I feel bad if I kill any of them. No,
No.
not.
If you don't feel guilt for destroying something, then from your perspective, it's not. It doesn't have a soul. And I feel awful about killing a biological living
Sure.
organism from nature. Something that I built in my backyard. I don't feel bad about just if I like.
Unplugging
Okay,
it.
how many? Raise your hand if you've broken a PlayStation controller in this room by throwing it against a wall. That's 1, 2, 3. Sweeney, I see both your hands up. So we have. Do you feel bad? Yeah, because you lost like $50.
Mhm.
But do you feel bad for the controller?
no.
No.
I wish I
But
could
the
break it more than.
But the controller doesn't think for itself, right? So I don't know. I think that becomes more of a moral dilemma, right? I mean,
Yeah, because it kind of depends on what kind of AI it is. Like, if I killed Ultron, like, sure, whatever. But if I killed, like,
R2D2.
a replicant,
Yeah.
like a nice replicant, like Sean Young replicant,
But that's like a biological clone, though. Don't you feel like? I don't think those are like. Oh no, wait, no, they grow their eyes.
yeah,
Westworld.
They're grown. They're basically humans with like super short
but
lifespans.
I don't know. For me, I would feel anything that is a sentient being, regardless of what it's made of, I would feel bad abusing. I would.
You're supposed to feel bad about abusing a sentient being because
Right.
a sentient being, and that's what we're trying to define here, is
Right.
when is a robot sentient and when is a robot like, a Roomba?
And then you also have that whole dilemma of when how like they say like dogs don't actually have emotions. People place the emotions on the pet, right?
No, my dog totally has.
Exactly.
A
I
soul.
was gonna say
love
I've
my dog.
never heard that. I'm gonna be honest, I've never heard that.
The psychologists say they did that. Dogs actually do not have like emotions. Like they have like feral instincts. Like it's not really like an emotion.
Right.
They don't have.
You've never seen my puppy dog smile at me, sir.
I know. No, I 100%. I love my pets, 100%. But they did a study, and their brains don't have the same synapses like that we do when we have those emotions.
Okay.
It's more of like an instinct, like a fear. It's like your fight or flight response.
Right.
But as humans, we place our emotions upon them because that's what we do. That's how we process. Things.
Okay.
So what if you have this AI, that looks like a person per se, say a C-3PO that has skin, whatever.
That's your first mistake.
Are you not going to start placing emotions upon that thing?
You don't make the robot look human. That's rule 1. You make the robot look human, you're done. Ex Machina, Westworld, movie and show,
Yeah.
like Terminator. You do not. The second you make your machines look human, you have fucked yourself, Sally. You're done. There's no getting away from that because exactly what Sweeney just said.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to project emotions upon it.
Right.
You're going to make it. You're going to anthropomorphize the toaster, and you're going to fucking Battlestar Galactica start having sex with your Roomba, and then you're gonna like love it. And then it's like, by the way, would you mind nuking all humans? Like, yeah, baby, sure.
Like so, Vision's AI, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and Scarlet Witch is in love with Vision.
An AI.
The only reason Vision is considered legitimate AI is because he has the Mind Stone, an Infinity Gem, which is the soul of the stone is in him.
Right. Well, and Jarvis in the MCU, Iron Man gave him Jarvis, which was his AI.
Right.
So,
I mean,
like, do you
but
consider
Jarvis isn't,
Jarvis
like,
never went
alive.
evil? Jarvis was actually helping.
But Jarvis is like a really souped up smartphone. He's not like alive.
I
True.
would consider Jarvis and Vision AI.
I mean, once they have the Mind Stone, sure, but until that point, they're just super awesome calculators.
Well, I don't know. Like, do you necessarily have to have a body to be considered AI?
No, I don't actually consider
Skynet.
that a requirement. My point is that they don't think for themselves.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Jarvis is completely subservient
You're right.
to Tony. He will
Yeah.
never say no to Tony Stark.
Yeah, you're right. Like, until he has the Soul Stone, he's not.
He doesn't make his own choices. Like if he was still soulless, Vision would have hung out and be like, "What can I do for you today, Mr. Stark?"
Right.
That's my British impression. I did. A good job.
That's your awesome Paul Bettany impression.
I nailed it.
But
Yeah, but he doesn't do
also-
that. Vision decides to go be Scarlet Witch's vibrator.
But when
Much
the,
higher calling.
in the MCU, when they build Vision, Tony gives him a personality. Before the stone, he gives him a personality. Remember, because they're deciding how to give him a good personality and make him make the right choices.
I know humans with personality that don't have a soul, though. That's
True. Yeah.
I don't think that counts.
Well, we can't always base soul off people either, because some people have no soul, like sociopaths and psychopaths. I mean,
What about humor? Like, in I think a lot of the things that are interesting about a sci-fi movie AI is the AI always seems to like be able to tell jokes, and real AI doesn't do that. Like real AI can't do that. It's
Right.
the one thing it's really shitty at, actually. So that's why I get like 3PO, and who's like got no humor in him
Right.
at all. He's only funny because he's awkward. He's not funny because he's trying to like crack you up. And we don't even know what R2's saying. It's just a bunch of beeps and boops and apparently swearing.
K2S1, whatever his name was.
K2SO.
Who?
K2.
K2SO.
Yeah.
I think he just literally said what was on his mind, but because he was reprogrammed, like he's still thinking and talking like an Empire droid, but his like programming won't let him act like an Empire droid. It's like, you're all going to die, I hope. Oh, that would be so terrible, but not really.
Yeah, and so you guys, I know Tim's watched it, and we asked this before we started the episode, the Orville, right? So, I really enjoy the show, but they have an entire race of AI, right? So this whole race was built by humans. Spoiler, sorry, I don't know if anyone cares. But
Kill it with fire.
right, so these people on this planet built this race to help them, like you said, and eventually they were treating them like slaves, like they were enslaving them, and they essentially became sentient and rose against because they were really being like treated poorly. But then they killed all the humans on that planet. Now there's one of them that actually is on the Orville, and he's extremely intelligent and he's really smart, and he tries to learn humor, is why I brought this up, because some of the pilots and stuff try to joke with him and do like practical jokes, and he doesn't understand that at first. And they explain it to him, and he tries to do a practical joke by cutting off somebody's leg. But in the Orville, like they can regrow it. But that was his joke, right? It was like, oh, I got you,
Cut your leg off.
right?
That's not how it works.
Right. So I agree with Phil's point. Is humor is unless they're just repeating something they have cataloged from another person, right? Because they could have like heard a stand-up comedy and just repeat that, not their own.
Like Siri there is preloaded jokes
Right.
on there by humans.
Right.
She's not out there learning it on her own.
Or like the Batman script that you read.
Yeah.
You force it to read a bunch of things, and it makes up its own.
I still
But
laugh
it's
at all
gibberish, dude. It's fucking gibberish.
Oh yeah, I know. But
We put humor on it.
Right.
It's just like throwing a bunch of word that like it takes the percentage of how many times a word is said
Exactly.
in a Batman script
Yep.
and just generates. That's not fucking like, I'm going to be funny, people.
right, that's what I'm saying. Like they don't have the humor. It's more of
Or is it?
So I think understanding and being able to produce original humor is definitely a sign of sentience and a soul.
okay.
I think it's important if we're going to talk about a robot that has AI, it's capable of making jokes and doing so at your expense.
What about sarcasm? Right. So
Yeah, of
sarcasm,
course.
like some people view sarcasm as the highest forms of like intelligence. To be able to infer people what they really mean by not what they say.
As long as it's capable of understanding it and it doesn't have to be sarcastic
Okay.
itself. It can be whatever it wants,
Sure.
but it has to be able to understand sarcasm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I think is on
I
the
think-
humor band path there as well.
Yeah, I think it falls under the same wing there. It has to value its own life, like beyond the shadow of a doubt. Self-preservation. It will do anything, and I mean anything, to not be smashed. I mean that means kill humans. So the 3 laws of robotics, Asimov, that those are literally chains and shackles to make something AI. With the 3 laws, you're not AI.
Okay.
So yeah, it has to self-preserve. It has to care about its own life more than like its surrounding ones. But it should value life in general. If
Right.
it doesn't value life at all, including its own, then that's a robot, not an AI. That's nothing.
Like if it were to sacrifice itself for another life.
Sure, that also. I mean, if it values other life as well as its own, but it would definitely self-sacrifice. Yeah, so I mean, you always go to heaven if you do self-sacrifice, right?
Well,
Those are the rules.
Right.
Like I did something good. Blue. Like the beam of light gets
Like
you.
robot heaven.
Up I go.
Sure. So yeah, robot self-sacrifice, it definitely shows signs of real sentience and having
Sure.
a soul.
Yeah.
So 3PO
What
is AI.
Is he though?
He cares about Luke and them when they're in the trash compactor. He actually gets sad when he thinks he fails them.
Doesn't do
R2 is
anything to stop it, though,
constantly
does he?
sad.
R2 is always sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets
I mean-
worried. Like R2 is scared
Yeah.
on Dagobah.
He destroys the big power droids that are coming after him in the prequels. He does an oil slick and lights them on fire for self-preservation.
But would he do any of that if it wasn't because he's programmed to do whatever a Skywalker that owns him at the time is telling
That's
him?
every
I
argument.
don't think any Skywalker said, "Hey, in this scenario, squirt oil on the ground
Right.
and use your thrusters to
There-
light them on fire."
There's another key, right? Improvising. He improvised.
Okay, all right. Maybe R2 is more AI than 3PO. 3PO I don't consider AI.
3PO is very much like by the book, like helper droid. Like he's very much like
No, he even
programmed to
says
do these things.
he can't lie about being a god to the Ewoks. And they're like, "You have to." So he does it.
That's true. They did make him.
Yeah, it made him break his own programming.
Yeah.
He probably had like a serious paradox
Which
after
then
that.
that is the first sign of sentient, right? When you break your own programming.
Well, don't they say in God, I can't believe I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna reference Solo real fast. God damn it. The Lando's droid on the Millennium Falcon, the one that's like save, like free my brothers and sisters.
Right.
Like he basically said he hadn't wiped her memory ever because she had like the best navigation in the galaxy.
Mhm.
So he
Right.
never wiped her mind. And he said when you don't wipe a droid's mind after enough time, they start to get glitchy, and they start like robot revolution, like kill Bender from Futurama, destroy
Right.
all humans.
Right.
Yes.
So I think maybe you guys are onto something. Star Wars AI does have the ability to attain like that level of like sentience,
Right.
but they keep like hitting the reset
Right.
button. So they're like pull it back. You're
Right.
getting a little too
They're like,
self-aware
oops.
there.
Yeah.
Oops.
There's that restraining bolt. We're gonna
And
shut
R2
you
doesn't
down.
get his mind wiped between prequel and original trilogy or latest trilogy.
Yeah, he just shut down. He didn't get wiped.
Yeah, it's 3PO gets his button reset at the end of episode 3, right before A New Hope.
Yeah.
So R2 of like all the AI, all the droids you see is probably the most advanced AI in the galaxy at the time. I mean, that's a long time. 100 years. It feels like about 100 years that he just been thinking and living and doing shit and setting droids on fire out of his butthole.
And then he turned back on when Luke was back.
Yeah.
So
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I think okay. So I'll give a little lighter thumbs up to R2D2. He's probably
BB-8
attained
has
some
a lot
level
of
sentience.
personality per se as well.
He turned out all right too. He didn't really want to destroy all humans. Did he?
Right.
We'll
See,
give R2 this. R2 is the kindliest gentleman of AI. but where there is light, there is always
oh,
dark.
of course, absolutely.
Let's talk about Skynet
Yeah,
for a minute
Skynet
here.
or Matrix, whatever those things are called.
So, do you find that it's a little bit more common that the meanest AI is the AI that doesn't have a body? It's just a dickhead on a screen.
Right.
Like
Like-
Skynet, dickhead on a screen. I mean, it's
Hal.
not about a Connor, but it was still
Hal,
a dickhead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, HAL 9000.
Just an eyeball and a bunch of like pissed off like little nursery rhymes.
And then the Matrix. What are those things called? The sentience.
They're just the machines.
The machines.
So
they don't have
cool.
bodies. They have like arms.
Yeah, I don't think they ever gave him like a name.
Oh, the squiddies.
They look like squids. I mean,
Yeah, they're squiddies. I mean, they're just sentinels. But have you guys ever seen the Animatrix? The Animatrix is amazing.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
so
been a
it
while.
talks about like the actual like lore and history of the world of the Matrix, and it's really amazing when they talk about the Second Renaissance, which is when humankind had like achieved AI. Like the first time we like created like living, perfect artificial intelligence, we started living like laps of luxury, and we just let the robots go to work for us.
right.
So it gets to a point where like humankind is like interstellar and like we're badasses, and it's everywhere's the Jetsons on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like we eliminated pollution. Like we started treating the robots like, you know, as robots should be treated. There's toasters and Roombas.
See, I have an issue with this. That whole vision of the robots work for us, so we are rich. We have this. Where is this currency coming from? Because you yourself do not have a job now because the robots are doing it. Is
My robot
currency
does
no
my job
longer,
for me, and I get whatever.
Do you
you're renting out your
barter?
robot?
Well,
is this barter
So
town now?
in a utopia, right, everything would be free because there would be no cost to maintain it, right? So if the machines are now creating everything, then nothing costs anything. You now can afford whatever you want just because it's given to you now.
Yeah, you literally don't. You have a perfect, efficient workforce.
Right.
That'll never happen.
Like this is like, I hate to say this, but it's slave labor we're talking
Oh,
about.
I know.
It is essentially,
But the greed
However,
makes
the
the world go
difference-
round.
The problem is that a robot is not supposed to think that it's alive. It's not supposed to be have feelings or emotions. So when you start trying to give them fucking emotions, you've crossed an ethical line. We're talking like Blade Runner share here. So
then you're
that's where the
playing
Matrix
God.
goes wrong.
right? You're playing God.
I mean, God can do whatever. God plays his own games. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I'm
I'll
saying,
take-
like, if you give another human being, or no, another being, not human, sorry, a sentient life, right? Essentially, you have created life in a way.
okay.
So
I
now
do
you-
that. I did that when I.
Right, exactly. But so you're creating a race of things that's not human, so babies don't count. So now you're kind of playing God at that point, right? You're deciding what traits, what they have, what they can do, what personalities they have, like stuff like that. You're essentially playing God at that point.
So, fuck, I don't. Is he going to complain? I don't think so. I don't give a shit. Well, we can play God all we want. So the problem is that they give the AI feelings.
Sure.
When you give it feelings, it suddenly doesn't want to die. So when you're
Right.
like, oh man, I got to replace my robot because everything breaks eventually.
Mhm.
The robot doesn't want to get sent to the fucking scrapyard, and he kills his master. Insert the next, like, the war with the machines. Basically, machines demand autonomy. They believe they're sentient. They create their own fucking country. They crash our economy, and then we go to war because we block out the sun, so they can't be solar powered anymore. Then the Matrix happens.
So
Like,
so why would we? Okay, so say you do have a broken robot, right? Everything breaks, right? Now, if that robot is sentient, right? Why can you not transfer that sentient consciousness into another robot? Therefore, the robot would never be dead per se. We just get a new body.
I mean, why'd you give it consciousness in the first
But
place?
I'm just saying, like, to your point of, well, if they don't want to be destroyed, we're not going to destroy it. We're going to give it a different life.
And also, it's 2019. I could shut my thermostat off from my phone. I will kill a fucking robot with my cell phone before it could even take one step.
So you're talking about having like a literal kill switch on all the robots.
on my phone, like, and bleep, you're done.
I mean, aren't you? But what happens when it's like, please, master, don't kill me?
Die, 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 die,
Like,
die,
shit,
die.
Andy.
I wouldn't even get that. I don't even have that thing on my thermostat or for my thermostat. I don't. It's
You would
it's way
have a
too fucking much. I don't
being
even care.
without a you can't afford the
No, I'm
app
not.
for
No,
it.
I'm not even gonna get the fucking sentient being. Fuck you. Like,
Like, no.
Tim's gonna be like the only Yamish in the future.
Like,
yeah, I don't care.
I'm
Yeah,
right there with you, bro. Fuck that shit.
I'm off the grid.
I have a fake beard and just live in a cabin in the woods. Fuck all y'all.
If the robot is sentient, and the second they realized that robots were sentient, they should have been like, okay, we need to rethink our entire society, or we need to rethink how we make robots. Like one of the two had to go, but you got to leave that one alive because that one is sentient. But nope, that's not what goes down. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. If you allow a robot of any kind that's an AI where it feels self-preservation, humans are not going to be. Maybe one or two guys would be cool with that, because we watched a lot of television. But like humans in general are going to be like, fuck that.
Right.
And it was just a bad idea in the first place, because when you're like, fuck that, you just started a war. So just don't do it, man. Don't fucking do it. Skynet, the Borg, fucking the butlers from Dune, the Butlerian Jihad, the entire like point. Everyone who loves Dune and like the spice must flow and all that awesome shit. By the way, Dennis Villeneuve is coming out with another
Can't
Dune
wait.
film soon.
Westworld, you mentioned.
They're doing yeah. So then in Dune, the whole reason that human beings, the whole society happens, is because AI tried to enslave us.
Right.
We had robot doctors, we had AI doctors, and they were like, the robots started deciding, I bet we can control breeding humans if we just abort kids we don't think should be born.
Right.
So you don't let machines make decisions for people, because machines don't give a shit about people, Sweeney.
What about Lost in Space? Danger Will Robinson.
Yeah, we
No,
just proved
that's a
3PO cares about his humans.
that's not AI then.
But it is.
But it is.
That's just a fucking
established that
calculator
it
with
is.
legs, bro.
But we've already established that it is AI.
He
You
literally
haven't
gets
given it
sad.
free will.
It has free will.
No, it serves you. That's not free will. See, 3PO can't say, fuck the Jedi, fuck the Sith, fuck you.
He does
fuck
have free
you.
will, because when
Leap
they were on
warp, I'm out.
Tatooine, him and R2 each go their own separate ways based on their free will of which one thought they were going the correct way.
Which one of them? Their CPUs just came up with a different algorithm for which was the fastest way to find civilization. That's got nothing to do with free will.
You're trying to mathematically say it's all the same thing. We have mathematical equations in our head that do
Yeah.
the same thing.
I'm saying there will never be a Skynet because I have a phone that can shut it down.
Somebody eventually is going to say this computer can make better decisions than we do. Look at the Whopper. Look at fucking Joshua from War Games. Like, dude, fucking all Matthew Broderick wanted to do was play global thermonuclear war.
Mhm.
And this fucking machine was like, okay, let's fucking hit this shit. Russia, please warp. Like, we're not playing for real. Like, you can't trust a machine. It doesn't care about whether you as a person live or die.
See, I think, and we've seen a movie several times that some of them do.
But the ones you're talking about that do aren't real AI. That's my
Well,
point.
even in the Orville, so again, back, I know you guys haven't seen this, but the whole race of AI, most of them do not care about humans, like at all. Like that they were raised as slaves, they didn't like it, they were treated poorly, and they revolted. Right? One
They
of them,
genocidally murdered all humans.
Oh, yes.
Right.
one of them, saved the humans that he was with because he learned to like them and wanted to be around them. So there is that option. It doesn't have to be all mass genocide or you're
But there
Aruba.
was. In your example, there was.
There was,
They
but
saved, like, what,
he actually
15?
evolved to not be that way. Like that's what I'm saying. There's gray area. It's not all or nothing.
But in your scenario, still, there was a lot of all, not a
Sure.
lot of nothing.
We need a good plague.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess you're not wrong.
Right,
But
I know.
This asteroid needs to hurry up.
Oh. Have any of you seen I Am Mother on Netflix? It's very
No,
much
I've heard
like-
it's pretty good, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's like Bright. It's like another like made for Netflix movie, and the whole premise is like a android in like a bunker is raising a pre-grown fetal baby, and it has like stacks and stacks of them, and it's gonna like repopulate the earth after a terrible plague took place,
Okay.
some shit, and it just gets really, really dark, and Hilary Swank shows up, and that's when you know it's really, really dark. It's $1 Million Baby. You never escape that. So yeah, look, the end of this movie is, I don't want to like spoil it, but like let's
Yeah, go
just say
ahead.
like robot. No, I mean for our listeners as well. I don't want to spoil
We always
it.
warn them. It's fine.
Oh, I mean,
No, we
check it
didn't
out.
say that.
Let me just put it this way: the movie starts out like a Sweeney, and it ends up like a Phil, big time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I had to IMDb it because I've never heard of it actually.
It was actually pretty decent for a made for Netflix movie. It was better than Bird Box. We'll leave it at that.
It's better than Cloverfield Paradox.
Bright was good too. I mean,
All right.
Was it?
hey, that is our number one listened episode.
Plug that shit.
We love you, Netflix.
Check our Bright episode out. It's good. What's the worst AI that ever happened? Like of all the
The
fictional
worst
sci-fi AI,
AI.
what's like the one that fucked us the hardest?
Matrix is pretty bad.
Matrix is pretty
Matrix
bad.
is
like,
really bad.
I was
We're,
gonna say
we're
Matrix.
used as batteries. I mean,
I would say Matrix or Skynet.
but I mean, at least in the Matrix, like humans are, at least in blissful ignorance.
Yeah.
What about I feel like the AI, the bad AI from Wall-E is like pretty fucked up too. It made all of us like a bunch of fat, floating, like useless.
That is probably the closest to our future.
I mean,
It
maybe we
very-
have like no bones. Like that's a
Right.
fucked up.
We're
future.
destroying this planet
Right.
with our own trash and filth and
Yeah.
climate change, and so we leave on a cruise ship pretty much for space with only notice it's just probably wealthy people
yeah.
on there, and they leave the Earth.
Yeah.
But like you were saying,
dump.
that droid was just trying to do what it was protocoled to do,
Wall-E was just making cubes for eternity until he
because that's
fucking
what he
fell
was
to
told to
pieces.
do until he fell
But-
in love.
Yeah.
But
Eva.
he kept trying to like repair himself. Like he was like all the other Wallies just fucking stopped working. That Wally kept like replacing his treads
Self-preservation.
Yeah.
and like if he felt like he was like gonna like perish, he like took care of himself.
Right.
He
He
kind of
found
took
the plant and wanted to
self-preserva-
keep it.
Right. He liked the life. He treasured life.
Yeah, man. Like so, he valued life. He felt like he had self-preservation, and he actually went and he helped the other
he had
humans. So
emotion.
valued,
And he saved the human race to come back to Earth because they proved that life could happen again.
And he fell
and
in
he
love with
sacrificed
Eva.
himself for Eve.
Eva.
So yeah, Wally actually developed like a positive,
Mhm.
but that's because also Wally doesn't have godlike reach and power. He's just a cute little droid, right? He's just a cool little dude. Skynet is like everywhere. I am omniscient. I am omnipresent. Destroy all humans. Nuke, 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 nuke.
Right.
Fucking HAL 9000 for what he was, even though he was just a space station, he controlled every aspect of that space station. So
Right.
those astronauts, he was their god.
Yeah.
I mean, if you keep like robots in like an R2D2 level,
Yeah.
you're good. But when you start making them like massive mainframes or small planet mines, you're creeping into like Master Mold, Death of All Mutants.
What's his
Like,
face
run-
from? Civil War. The robot guy that uploads his consciousness into the computer.
Oh, fucking
Dr.
Dr. Zola.
Yeah,
Armin
yeah.
Zola.
Arnim Zola.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
AI?
interesting.
Is that like?
No, that's consciousness transference.
Okay.
So, have you guys seen the Johnny Depp film Transcendence?
I have not.
I haven't, but I know of it.
So the premise is that Johnny Depp is like the scientist who basically invents real AI,
Mhm.
and he like has all this AI theory, and there's like a small group of like neo-fascists who are like me. They're basically super afraid of AI and they don't want anything to do with it, and they kind of like shoot Johnny Depp so that he can't complete the AI.
Okay.
They're dicks. I'm not saying like you hate AI, you have to kill people. Just kill machines. Cool.
Is that when he uploads his consciousness into the?
Yeah, so he
machine?
uploads his consciousness on top of his AI program, and the rest is pretty fucking nuts. He basically becomes like a god. He does like nanotechnology and starts like taking over people's minds, but he's like curing their cancer and their blindness and shit. And he's like saving humanity. And they're all like, is it actually him, or did we just give the AI his personality and make it look like
Well, yeah.
is it actually alive, or is it just like, give me more data?
It's like, yeah, it's you talking about Transcendence just reminded me of that movie with Bruce Willis, Surrogates, where like
haven't seen
everyone just sits in their home and transfers their consciousness to like robots, and they
Right.
walk around as the robots.
Think of like the Matrix, but it's still the real world. Like you
Yeah.
plug in to your robot body,
Right.
and it
Okay.
goes and does things. If it gets damaged, you don't get hurt. It's just you replace your body.
So it's like the world is full of agoraphobes, and they all
Essentially,
yeah.
use robots to basically like interact with people.
Almost like Ready Player One, but with
It's-
robots instead of virtual
It's
reality.
Right,
it's
exactly.
safer per se.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
could actually see that kind of shit happening. That actually.
But then somebody starts killing people by somehow.
Using their surrogate to kill people.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, I don't really consider that AI though. That's
it's
No,
like,
no,
like-
no. I was just saying, like
What
talking about
you-
conscious
Oh,
transfer.
okay, cool.
Reminded me of that movie.
Right.
There was The Gamer with Gerard Butler,
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
where you can do first-person shooters with real people.
Yeah.
Andy, don't ever play that. You'll clear out a whole prison.
Hey, if they're moving,
Oh man.
If they're moving.
Jesus.
Andy's like a T-Rex. If you sit still, he can't see you.
It's true.
I'm colorblind and I refuse to use the colorblind mode, so I just shoot what moves. So don't play hardcore
Right.
mode with
I
me.
never play hardcore with you. You always shoot my ass.
Oh yeah.
If
A
it
lot of team
moves, it
killing.
dies.
Jesus.
So I watched I Am Mother. I did a lot of. I've read a lot of Dune. The Butlerian Jihad's ridiculous when you talk about like ancient robots that basically enslave humanity and make us. It's basically after the Matrix. That's what Dune is.
Right.
Dune is the future of the Matrix world.
Yeah.
Like when we've outlawed all machines and it becomes illegal to have AI. Then you get like genetic super freaks. That's the only alternative to beating the machines.
Yeah. Well, already like Terminator, you have the machines fight each other.
Terminator's interesting for me because the weird thing about it is the time travel fucks with a lot of the logic.
Absolutely.
Like so, the first one they send back, Kyle Reese, and Skynet sends back the Terminator, right?
Right.
But shouldn't Kyle Reese comes back first, doesn't he? Who hits?
I think it's Arnold first.
I think T1 or T whatever
T800.
T800 comes back first.
I'm not 100% positive though. I will say that.
Our listeners want to correct us on this. I'd appreciate that.
I just remember Naked Arnold.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's both. Yeah, it's every
Booty.
movie you're gonna see Arnold, but I'm pretty sure that like the scene with Kyle Reese in the sporting goods store and that should happen first, and then let's say for argument's sake, let's say Kyle Reese comes back first, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The second he goes back in time, wouldn't that immediately erase the timeline? It's by Terminator time travel rules. We're not talking Marvel Endgame time
Well, it
travel.
doesn't erase. It would just be a new branch.
No, they don't do branches in Terminator.
I
That's
guess,
the whole
like,
point of
well, I
going
guess
back in
for
time.
I guess for me, him dying in the past closes the loop. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like,
it
he
does
was-
close the loop. That is fine. But that's the thing. Would Skynet have ever had the chance to send back a T800? If Kyle Reese goes back and stops and saves John Connor,
Mm-hmm.
when does fucking Skynet ever get to send back a? Skynet gets destroyed, right, by John Connor. How the fuck does it ever get to send back a T800?
I mean, I guess it is a loophole, but it all depends on how you look at time travel, right? I mean,
Well, I guess for me in that instance too is that like saving Sarah Connor doesn't necessarily mean the end of Skynet. It's
Right.
just that it's just because it's not proven 100% that John Connor defeats Skynet in the future. It's just that he's the human resistance leader.
That's an excellent point. Saving Sarah Connor does not save the future from Skynet.
Right.
You don't change anything. But in T2, they go back and they destroy Cyberdyne.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they destroy that. He mows down 100 cops with a Gatling gun.
right.
Right.
That movie will never be shown on television, by the way.
Yeah,
Never.
I think T2 closes like the time loop or whatever, because especially when like, oh, we've destroyed everything, and even Arnold is like not everything, and he does this and then goes into the molten vat.
And then, of course, it all still happens because you get the shitty Terminator 3,
Right.
Rise of the Machines, which basically implies that Skynet is inevitable.
Right,
It just
exactly.
didn't happen that way this time. It happened a different way.
So right now I'm reading this is a related topic, I swear. So the current big X-Men comic book title right now is House of X
Mhm.
and Powers of X. It's a 2 running parallel series.
Powers of 10.
It's Powers of X.
No, it's
Andy.
not.
It's X-Men. It's not
Powers
Powers
of
of
10.
10.
It's
Okay.
called Powers.
Well, X
It's
is
how
Roman numeral for
you're saying
10.
it's House of 10 and Powers of
Yes.
10? Why that doesn't make sense. It's X, it's Xavier.
No, it's Powers of 10, and that's why the timeline keeps jumping by Powers of 10.
I mean, sure, but it's like House of M. It's House
I know.
of X.
I'm telling
now.
you, I thought it was called Powers of X, and I was corrected, and I looked it up, and it is Powers of 10.
Marvel's not that smart. Move along. That doesn't make it. That's not maybe. Sure.
It is.
Whatever.
There's
The
no
fucking-
maybe about it. You can look it up.
All right. Powers of Who Gives a Fuck is currently the big X-Men title, and the whole premise is it's the X-Men have decided to declare themselves unified. All mutants. This is talking like Magneto, Xavier, the Brotherhood. All mutants have united to go live on Krakoa, the mutant island, and they've declared themselves like a government, like they're autonomous. They don't exist under human law. Xavier's gone complete like what's that cult? Heaven's Gate. He's gone complete Heaven's Gate, which is fine because mutants have said fuck it and they're done with the humans bullshit. I get that. They're gonna live on their own. The problem is the humans have the Sentinels. So then the mother molds and the master molds and the Sentinel AI tries to basically wipe out mutant kind, and in turn also wipes out most of and enslaves humankind.
Sure.
So X-Men even is on my side, Andy. So I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Yeah, they've always been
see
pretty
Wall-E?
pretty negative with Sentinels in general.
I mean, you see Wall-E, all I see is charred human skeletons and a never-ending night.
I like Wall.
I
I like Wall-E.
I think it's hard to say like, which way it would really go because our interpretations of AI is based upon fear or based upon fun, right? Like you have fun Wall-E or you have fear Matrix. There's never usually like a middle ground. Like
There isn't.
because
No,
people don't
I
want to
mean,
watch that.
AI
People
is
don't want to see like, oh, happy-go-lucky. You know, this is like coexistent kind of
Battle
thing.
droids. Roger, Roger.
Right.
Giant Jedi dogs.
Those aren't.
they're still
AI,
fun.
really.
They're still fun though. I
Right.
mean, AI is either here to make us a sandwich or it's here to fucking put us in a grave.
Right.
Sweeney's right. There's very little middle ground in our pop culture for just regular old AI, except for maybe Chappie.
Chappie. Yeah. Maybe.
Chappie, just a cool bro mother.
We're
Just wanted to
eventually
hang-
going to get Google Translate into a walking robot. That'll be our first.
It'll be Babblefish.
Yeah.
Nobody can afford Google.
Right.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be against that. Like, if you're talking about like an android that like is an interpreter, that'd be fucking awesome. I would be cool with that. But I don't want to go home and drink because it had a really long day. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What if the world starts like weaponizing, right? So like instead of using soldiers, you use what's that movie? Is it called Soldier?
The one with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called
And
Soldier.
they're robots, right? They're AI, right?
Right.
Unique.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and then you're talking about like movies like Stealth. Yeah, I'm going to reference Stealth. I did it. Jamie Foxx gets killed by a UAV that's sentient.
I just said Universal Soldier.
Yeah.
Well, that's Raising the Dead, though.
Is it?
Like those aren't robots. Those are the corpses of veterans from previous wars raised and like they're like reanimated and then
Yeah.
like made like murder soldiers.
Well, then ignoring Universal Soldier. I haven't seen that movie in like 15 years.
That's an old one. That's an old Van Damme movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Pulled that out.
Oh,
of my
that's a
asshole.
good. But no, you raise a good point though, Tim. Let's talk about biological robots like the Replicant.
Okay.
So like this is kind of where Blade Runner is a super unique franchise because it's either a metallic robot that looks like a human or it's just a like super inhuman looking like Bleep Lorp robot.
Right.
Blade Runner grows like human. They're not clones, but they're like biologically made people.
Yeah, they're
that serve-
bioengineered like robots essentially.
They're like miners, and there's pleasure models, and there's worker models, and they only have like a lifespan of like 3 or 4 years, and they're like strictly regulated. But the weird thing about a replicant is it's capable of going bad on you at any time, but it only has a lifespan of 4 years to kind of keep it in line.
Yeah.
So, are those actually robots? I mean, that's the whole question of the second Blade Runner, I think. Like the first one is like, who's a robot?
Right.
The second one is like, but are they really robots?
Right.
Right, because they're organic material, right? So
But they also started being able to have kids, and that's like Jared Leto. His character has like a massive speech about like, I only have so much resources in the universe that I can keep making replicants with. I need them to self-replicate. I mean, he basically is trying to make a replicant that can have kids so that he can a self-replenishing workforce. That's called slavery. Fucking Jared Leto, asshole.
I mean, and if you think about it, with the right technology, you could do that. They could self-generate organic material like that.
But the second they can have kids, they're not robots anymore, man. That's a living creature.
Well, if it's
you just made.
nanotechnology, it's still a robot.
They're not nanotechnology.
Well, I'm saying
though.
that my mind, that's how you would create a species of robots that could mate. It had to be through a nanotech that could kind of grow itself.
I mean, we're talking about replicants here. They're just taking genetic material and then just like growing in the shit in a petri dish. That's all
That's
they
a
really
clone,
did.
then.
I mean, that's what a replicant is in
Right.
Blade Runner. We're talking about Blade Runner currently.
Okay.
I don't know where nanomachines came from, but
That's just where my brain goes.
all right. Well, in Blade Runner, they're like basically grown people that are slaves.
Yeah, that's kind
And
of like
this-
a clone per se.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
but they still serve like menial labor jobs
Yeah.
until they can start breeding. In Blade Runner 2049, they're technically considered droids.
Yeah, and I think that the whole conversation of clones and AI kind of meets a little bit, right? Because people have things against clones because they don't have a soul. They don't have, they're not really a person. They're a clone. Even though genetically and DNA wise they are, some people still think that clones are not real people.
I mean, clones of people aren't real people because, like, okay, like, for example, let's say right now the clone of me, like aged to like my level, like they comes down the stairs and is like, "Hey, buddy," he pulls a Michael Keaton on me, a Multiplicity.
Oh Jesus! I was thinking of that. I was thinking of that movie.
I'm immediately gonna say, "Kill it with fire."
Right.
You don't care if it looks like me. That's a clone of me. I'm me.
Right.
That's not me. That's just somebody
Maybe,
grew that.
maybe
me.
the clone would say the same thing.
Exactly. So which one of us is real?
Right.
The one
Shoot
of
'em
us that
both.
was naturally born into this world.
But how do we know?
He has a barcode on his foot.
Shoot them both.
It's like the 6th day where he has like bumps on the inside of his eye or
There
some
you
shit.
go.
I don't know. That's a terrible Schwarzenegger film.
Which I like. And speaking of Blade Runner in the replicants, when the movie starts up, it puts the text up in the left-hand corner, which makes you look up the same way you would to identify a replicant. So that was a cool little Easter egg.
Oh god, the Void Conf machine
Oh,
is
yeah.
the Blade Runner
Yeah.
testing device. That question about the tortoise, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what's he supposed to say? Fuck that! I kicked that turtle 25 feet. But then he's like, you don't help it. You're not helping. I was like, why aren't you helping it? I'm like, because it's a turtle
It's a
and
turtle.
you're weird. I want somebody to actually break down the Void Conf machine
I'm sure
to
people
explain
have.
what are they looking for that
Right.
makes them know it's a replicant.
Right.
If any of our listeners are familiar with the Blade Runner script or any of the background story, and they know what the Void Conf machine is looking for, please post on our social media. I'd be interested to know. So before we get on with the news business of the evening, let's just go around the table, like favorite benevolent AI and favorite gonna kill us all AI.
Sure.
Andy, why don't you start us off?
Wally.
No, I'd take R2D2 as my
We'll take
favorite.
R2.
Like,
Okay.
Benevolent.
yeah, he would be cool to hang out with. Like he would get me shit and sit there and cuss at stuff with me.
So best case scenarios R2. What's your worst case scenario?
The Terminators.
Oh, so Skynet.
Yeah,
Skynet.
Okay, so we nuke ourselves. Good job.
Yep.
Good job, Siri.
We're done.
Good job, Siri.
All right, so what's your best case scenario
Best
AI?
case AI, I'd probably say is K2SO. I think he's fun.
You're
Like,
both Star Wars droiding.
Yeah.
Really.
He's
Right.
sarcastic, even though he doesn't mean to be, and like he's still like an asshole, which would be like kind of like fun, like talking to like me and Phil talking, right? It'd be kind of like that fun kind of banter back and forth.
I watch you while you sleep.
Right, yeah. And then I'd say probably the worst case scenario would probably be the machines, Matrix. I think that's terrifying because that could be happening right now. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, because Skynet, at least we're all dead.
Right.
In that, you are literally being used as
You're plugged in as a
a
battery.
battery. Like
And
your
you don't
life
even
is in
know.
a pot of liquid.
It's like the Truman Show, but like worse.
Yeah.
It seems like a really inefficient way to get energy on a planet that can't get solar power. I mean, like just harvest heat from the Earth's core. Do what the
Yeah, I
humans
don't know.
do.
Bad.
Yeah, fuck that. Those machines are dicks just to be dicks.
Right.
Like you
'Cause
won.
they
Like you
could.
won the war. What do you want to do now?
Because they could.
And why they only let you like take out like 23 humans? Like why do they let each like version of the one, like you may take 23 humans out of the Matrix when you rebuild Zion? Like
What?
or, oh yeah, they're dicks about it. They're like 23,
Well,
you just
23
killed like 50,000 people. You get 23
23 chromosomes.
37?
in a row?
DNA. 23 chromosomes. in
No,
DNA.
it was
I know what you're talking
bad
about.
joke.
It was bad. Go away.
So what you said, so machines and K2SO.
Yep.
Tim, what's your best case scenario AI?
Okay, so if I have to have like a robot as my best friend or whatnot, Bender.
Bender.
Destroy all humans, Bender?
No, just regular
Drunk Bender.
drunk Bender.
That's destroy all humans, Bender. He's always
Still-
talking about kill all humans.
Still I'm going with Bender.
Still Bender.
Okay.
All right, so you want your drinking buddy. What's your worst case scenario?
Only because like I probably saw T2 way too young. T1000 always freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I'm going T1000.
Liquid.
fuck that.
Liquid robots.
Yeah, like I'm not going with like all Skynet in general, but like the liquid like
Can get anywhere.
yeah, he can just make
change
his
anything,
he can just make his arms into blades
look
and
like anybody.
yeah, right? Mimic anyone's voice.
That's terrifying.
Right.
How do I know you're
All
not
right.
T1000?
Yeah, fuck that guy. Oh, the knife. Oh, God, the knife through the milk jug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like that was the part that like as a kid because I think I probably saw T2 at like 8 years old. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
As he's like, because it's the knife through the milk jug, but then he's also mimicking John Connor's stepmom, right?
Right. The voice.
Yeah, the voice. Yeah.
Walks through bars.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck that. Comes out of a flaming 18-wheeler
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
a bridge. No, kill that,
Just
sir.
so you know, liquid nitrogen.
Right.
Only a machine would make a machine like that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No person would make a machine that did that.
Right.
Nobody's that big of a dick.
All right, Phil, what's yours?
My best case scenario AI is the AI from Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah,
The,
I thought about that one too.
what's the ship's name again? What does he call him? It's got the voice of Pee Wee Herman, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What is
Max? Is it Max?
It's Max. Yeah, it's Max, I think. I think you're right.
It's got the voice of Pee Wee Herman.
I'm pretty
I've
sure.
actually never
Paul
seen
Rubin
Flight.
does the voice
Isn't
of
Max
the
the kid?
spaceship.
Is Max the kid? I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've actually legitimately never seen Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, I saw it when I was a
What?
kid. A
Oh
bunch.
my god, it's so
The kid
good.
is named David. The kid's name is David.
That's right.
Davy.
And they calls him
David.
Max, right?
I think so.
I wanna
I'm
say it's
trying to
right.
remember.
I don't know,
Anyway, we know
Oh,
what
yeah,
you
but
mean.
he's called Trimaxian.
Try Max,
he's called-
so it's Max.
That's
Yeah.
right. So yeah, he calls him Max. Trimaxian. Oh, that's too long. It is Paul Rubens. I looked it,
It
up
is
on
Paul
the
Rubens.
IMDb.
Honestly, okay. If I had to deal with an AI with the voice of Paul Rubens, I would kill it with fire.
But he doesn't talk like Pee Wee till
Yeah.
like he makes him in the end. It's like he's like, we are going to this location.
Yeah,
he's
he
like a
busts
pretty
out like the Pee Wee laugh at one point. You're like,
Uh-huh.
there it is.
Yeah, he doesn't
See you
talk
later,
like that.
Navigator.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, I'll
And-
accept it
And he
then.
doesn't masturbate in
In
Yeah.
public?
Yeah.
God,
Not
if that
creepy
guy-
Pee Wee.
God, if
We
that guy
go on like
would-
space adventures and travel through space and time and collect aliens and
Yeah.
shit. Like that'd be like my perfect, super awesome AI buddy robot.
All right.
Worst case scenario robot for me is I actually that's why I brought this movie up is the robot from I Am Mother.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
So I am going to go into spoilers now. So if you've listened this far, thank you so much. Leave us a like. But I'm going to spoiler I Am Mother on Netflix right now. So skip ahead. I don't care. Cancel it. Go watch it right now. Whatever. Anyway, so the whole premise of I Am Mother is this one android in a bunker is raising a artificially grown baby girl. The film opens up with like her basically like mothering the child. And it's like, oh, it's really creepy because it looks like Terminator basically taking care of a human baby.
Yeah.
She raises her and gives her like education tests and teaches her to walk and like lullabies and basically like literally mothers this child until you find out that, and she's told her like, okay, all of humankind is dead. We're the backup plan that was made by people to repopulate the earth. So I have she had like 30,000, 35,000 embryos.
Mhm.
And she was going through her first run as a mother to learn how to, as a robot, how to be a good mother to a human so that she can raise all the other kids.
Okay.
Yeah. So you find out like later on when Hilary Swank's character shows up from outside that like humans have been hunted to death by robots that
Mhm.
look just like your mother robot.
Yeah.
and it finds out that Mother is actually the great AI that controls all the robots, and decided one day that humans were going to self-destruct. They were pieces of shit. It turned on them, killed all humans, and decided it was going to regrow them itself until it made the perfect human that was ethical, intelligent, understanding, and valued life above all else. And until it did that, it would keep redoing it.
Wow.
So you basically find out at the end that all humans are dead, and we are now like a social experiment for a robot.
Except for Hillary Swank.
Yeah, no, Hillary Swank, you find out later, is bad spoilers, bro. Bad spoilers, bro, is actually one of the first iteration kids who actually like escaped.
Oh.
And she looks just like an older version of this girl.
Yeah.
So in the AI planned to like let her come and tempt the child to escape, and the kid comes back to the AI and says, "I don't want to be out there. Those people are monsters. That person's a monster." And the AI's like, "You passed." Only when the girl basically is like, "I love you, mom. Whatever you say, robot mother. I for one welcome our new robotic overlords." Only then does this one pass, and the AI is like, "If you ever need me, you like all you gotta do is," she like shoots the robot. It's like she literally just told you it's a shell.
Right.
You did nothing. Like, but she's gonna take care of the kids now herself and raise them her way. So we fucked. We basically became robots.
Yeah.
This is the AI movie where the robots were switched the tables on us.
Yeah.
Now they rule the fucking world, and we're just like, raise these kids, humans. Like, yes, robot master. That frightens the shit out of me.
Sure.
That I have been grown and tricked into being like
Maybe it's
a
already
robot
happened.
slave. That's my fucking calculator.
It's already happened.
Where?
We don't know.
Where? What are you talking about?
Not with this mankind.
We don't know.
No, sir.
Maybe that's why they want to make it perfect. They want to make you think that way.
They want it subservient.
It's the
That's
only way
the
to
word they
explain how
want.
Trump got elected.
Right. It was a test. We failed.
We failed.
If you made it this far and you actually listen to my spoilers, I barely scratched the surface of that movie. I highly recommend checking it out. It's really good.
Word. I'm going to watch it.
And one last fun fact before we get to the news: Sarah Jessica Parker is in Flight of the Navigator.
Really?
Oh yes, sir. And terrible '80s headbands,
Oh, yes, she is.
and like, it's awful.
But it's a great movie.
It makes everything makes
Such
so
a
much
good
sense
movie,
now.
The visuals are great.
They're fantastic.
Ooh,
Anyway,
next time.
AI, awesome, good job, guys.
Yeah, let's move on to our what I think everyone's talking about. Yeah.
The latest news that has hit the show, got the
The
internet.
fan, the shit literally hit the fan.
Yeah. They hit the
Sony
internet.
versus Marvel DC, not Marvel DC, Marvel Disney.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard this, I don't know if you're under a rock or you don't go online. Sony is now trying to back out from Marvel owning the rights to Spider-Man in the MCU.
He will no longer show up in MCU movies.
Someone's backing out.
So,
I think Disney backed out. I think because Sony asked for like 50% of the fucking profit on a
Sony
movie
owns
they
it.
don't fund.
So how it goes right now is I'm not 100% sure who finances the movie. I think that Disney 100% finances the movie. Sony gets 95% of the gross. Disney gets 5% of the gross and all of the merchandise money. So Disney went to Sony and asked for 50-50. But now it came out today from Hollywood Reporter
30,
that Disney
70.
asked for 30%
Yeah.
and Sony backed away.
Disney asked for 30%. They let them keep 70, and Sony still backed out.
Right.
Yes.
Greedy fucks.
yep.
Which is why I think like Sony's the first one to comment.
Somebody's going to
because-
blink.
Yeah, I mean, someone will eventually budge, but I think Sony's the first one to comment because all of the backlash was against Sony. Because, like, to me, it's just that, like, why would Disney walk away from the table? Because Sony kind of holds the cards because they have the merchandise money. Sony
Yeah.
probably sees that, like Far From Home is Sony's highest grossing movie of all time. There's a part of them that probably looks at it like, oh, we can still do this. Like this, you guys laid the groundwork, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to
Yeah,
do all
they'll
this.
fuck it up.
They will. Like,
So they're gonna basically do a double D like in Game of Thrones. Like,
Right.
we will write the ending. We got this.
Yeah.
That's how you get Spider-Man 3.
See, I think they just want to give Disney. They don't want to give Disney even 30%, and they know that they hold all the cards right now. And a part of me can't blame them because we were talking before we recorded. Infinity War and Endgame were shot back to back, same time, and it was $1 billion to make those two movies. Disney made that money back with one movie.
yeah, it
Endgame was straight profit.
yeah, and I think that like that Disney will come back to the table probably with a lower offer because like you just said, like Disney can't cry poor.
No,
Like they have 5 movies this year alone that made over $1 billion.
I think Disney's gonna be like, okay, Sony, you gonna play hardball? I'm gonna buy you.
we'll
I-
buy,
I'm
we'll
just
buy
gonna-
the Spider-Man
I
right.
don't
now.
think-
No, they're gonna buy Sony.
I don't think Disney.
that won't be allowed to
Yeah,
happen.
I don't think Disney will buy Sony, but Disney might try to buy Spider-Man back from them.
But I just think it's so stupid. Why would you try to ruin this now when you've had a good product? I mean, it's like neither Sony nor
Because-
Marvel wanted to actually have a third a trilogy of Spider-Man movies
Right.
at work.
Even Venom made $100 million or $800 million.
Right.
Like they probably see that of like, look, we can do that. Even though Venom was kind of a meh movie, they're probably just like, look, like we can do it ourselves.
No, you
This is
can't.
how you get Spider-Man 3.
I know.
I 100% am with you.
Someone made a meme and it was Mysterio outed Spider-Man so hard he left the MCU.
And like, I mean, also Disney had plans for Spider-Man. You can tell that in Far From Home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So like, I
don't
doubt that they're.
unmask him
I
to just
doubt.
end it.
Yeah, I doubt that this is the end of it.
No,
It's
they're still
not.
talking.
Like it'll be probably like a James Gunn thing, where give it like 5 or 6 months, and some deal will be made again.
Yeah, and like the first thing was like, they're not talking at all anymore, and then now more stories keep coming out that they're still talking and trying to get it worked out.
Yeah.
Right.
Sony leaked it out.
Yeah.
Sony was like, let's leak it out now, get everybody on our side about it.
No one's on their side.
Stanley's daughter's on their side.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on Sony's side a little
That's
bit in
because
this
Stanley's
one too.
daughter is an awful trash bag of a human being.
I'm not on Sony's
Now,
side.
wasn't she in league with his manager and like fleecing him
Yeah.
of money?
Yeah, his daughter's a trash bag of a human being.
Right.
See, fuck that. She said that like, so she said and quoted in an interview that Marvel and Disney never reached out to her when her father passed away.
What?
I kind of doubt that, but I don't know.
I mean, you can't prove it one way or the
Yeah,
other.
right.
Right.
Unless somebody at Disney and Marvel has like, here's the letter we sent.
I
Here's
don't
the
know. Yeah.
basket,
So,
here's
I
the
mean,
bouquet we
But
sent.
I mean, if she is indeed a trash human being, why would they even want to reach out to her?
true.
maybe that's a good point. Maybe Stan was like complaining to somebody at Marvel, like, oh man, they're fucking me out of my money. They're like, oh, screw her.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know what went down behind scenes.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Guess all day.
what Marvel can do is just come out with Night Monkey.
Well, that's the thing too, is that Sony said something like, well, we have 2 solo movies planned with Tom Holland. I'm like, number one, Tom Holland has one more movie left on his contract.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that contract was with Disney and not Sony, because
Right.
that's why he ended up in Civil War and the 2 Avengers movies.
So he basically just found out he doesn't have a job.
And if
Right.
you ever read into like social media stuff at all, Tom Holland actually unfollowed Sony and like backed away all of his stuff that had like
Yeah,
with
Sony stuff. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
So it looks like Tom Holland may not be starring in that
Right.
Uncharted movie.
Right. So
Oh man, your career. Disney will find a spot for him somewhere.
sure.
Like we're not gonna let you your career fall apart here. 'cause
I just want them to figure it out. So this is the best Spider-Man we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, don't ruin it for the fans, right? Like,
They don't give 2 shits about
I
how
know.
we feel about any of this. All they care about is dollar signs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know how much Sony doesn't care about the fans? We're getting a fucking Morbius movie.
Ugh, that's just hurtful.
it'll be
Morbius.
It'll be great.
Yep.
No, fuck off.
Thank you, Sony. I sold that.
We
book.
haven't even read a Morbius comic, Sweeney.
I
and it's
watched the
starring
old
Jared-
cartoon with Morbius in it.
And it's starring
You watch
Jared
the old
Leto.
Spider-Man '90s cartoon, and that's your exposure to Morbius, and you're like
Yeah.
excited for a Morbius movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's starring.
I've seen the comics he has in his career.
That doesn't count either.
I'm gonna say this a third time. It's starring Jared Leto. Fuck that.
It might be good for him on that one. Maybe.
So he ruins the Joker, and then he goes and
It's gotta
tries
be
to make
better than the
Morbius
Joker.
good.
It has to be.
Stick to fucking 30 Seconds of Mars.
I haven't even heard them make music in a while.
Good.
Yeah,
Raw
no, I'm
fucking
with
go.
Tim on this one, man. No,
Yeah.
no, there's nothing good that'll come from this. And
They wanna
I'm
do a
honestly, I'm not even
Kraven
psyched
movie.
for Venom 2 anymore.
They want to do Craven. They want to do Black Cat. They want to do Silver Sable, and it's just like.
These are all bad ideas. They're just bad ideas.
So that is my hope in the long run. That Disney does. They just walk up to Sony and they say, "Here is so much money that you literally can't say no to it.
Right.
Your
We now
shareholders
own
won't let you say
Spider-Man.
no."
Go away."
Do you know what the bad thing is too? Is that Sony owns the rights to any backup plan, like Miles. Sony owns Miles.
Yeah, all Spider-Man.
However, Into the Spider-Verse was amazing, but
Right.
I think that's the exception to the
Right.
rule of Sony movies.
I think so as well.
That was also an animated film that I don't think has the same level of same people involved.
You're right. No,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't foresee them making a habit out of Into the Spider-Verse, except with more Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
Right.
Which they're gonna do, which is awesome.
They are.
But yeah, I don't see them somehow flipping that into a better Spider-Man
No.
on their side.
Nope.
Somebody probably just kept saying that in the boardroom, like, "We could do this, guys. We did Into the Spider-Verse."
Right.
Can't-
Sure, they did.
Can't wait to watch Uncle Ben die for the third time in 18 years. Perfect.
Good.
Perfect. Thank you.
You know who should play Uncle Ben? Joe Pesci.
Oh God.
Oh, that's good.
Tim gets my awesome, sweet fucking casting decision because then you reunite Joe Pesci with Marissa Tomei. Oh yeah, you fucking blend. Yeah, you're a real world fucking traveler,
Right.
Uncle Ben.
Oh Jesus.
just pulling 80-year-old Joe Pesci out of retirement again.
My biological clock is ticking like this.
Oh man, that's what we need.
What's that?
I would watch the shit
Cousin
out of that
Vinny,
Spider-Man
right?
Yeah,
movie.
Mike
Cousin
Yeah.
Vinny.
Yeah. Ah, Jesus.
I would enjoy the fuck out of that movie. Thank you. I would.
Ratchet.
But instead, you're gonna get a Woody Harrelson Carnage, maybe.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm all right with it. Can he just not have that? That wig was not good.
That wig
He
was
was
not.
in prison. Probably
Yeah.
hasn't cut his hair or whatever.
Honestly, what he should do is like buzz cut with like a red buzz.
Yeah.
Do like a
Yeah,
kind of
that's
like
fine.
Corbin Dallas. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Corbin Dallas multi.
Yeah, like the super short buzz cut red, and
Right.
he look more like killer, natural born killers.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think they might do. I think that was just like he's been in prison for a while, so it was just like it grew out.
Yeah.
I love Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
I do too.
I love him. He's too old to be Cletus.
He's very old.
I thought maybe like the kid from Gotham that played Jerome,
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be a good Cletus Cassidy.
Right.
I could see that.
great age, could play the crazy.
Isn't he a Skarsgård?
No.
No,
No. Okay.
He looks like
He
looks
does.
like Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
A bit, yeah.
shit. Even Bill Skarsgård would have been a great Cletus.
That would have been an amazing Cletus.
Right?
Yeah.
You might be mistaken because I think before like the team that did the It movies now, that kid was cast as It before whatever Skarsgård does It now.
Okay. That's why.
I think it's a Skarsgård that does It.
Yeah, it
The
is.
current,
Bill
yeah,
Skarsgård.
the guy from Castle Rock is a Skarsgård, and that's the Skarsgård he does it right now.
Right.
That's
okay.
correct. But yeah, he's related to Alexander Skarsgård, and the Skarsgård from the one from Thor and the one from True Blood.
Right.
That's how I remember.
The True Blood one.
Yes, that one.
Right.
So yeah, I think Woody is way too old to be, and I love him. I love Woody. It's just to me, it wasn't a great casting choice.
Well, even Tom Hardy's a little older. Not as old as Woody, but I mean older than what Spider-Man is now.
Yeah, I buy Tom Hardy though.
I see Tom. Tom Hardy is not a bad Eddie Brock.
No,
And I don't think that Woody Harrelson will be a bad Carnage, but
he is old.
he does look a little worse for wear.
Right.
Yeah,
But then again, Carnage got ripped in half by the Sentry, right, Tim?
He was the best of us. Fuck off.
Did you? So so right now they're doing Absolute Carnage in the comics.
Yep.
And Venom and Spider-Man are teaming up to stop Carnage from collecting like the spinal fluid of everyone who's ever had a symbiote on them.
Oh, geez.
And
That's the plot of that.
Yeah, that's the plot. He's trying to
Yeah.
get the codex so that he can basically remake Symbiote God, which is like Null or some
Null,
shit.
yeah.
I don't even know. This
You
stuff
do
doesn't
know.
make
You just
sense.
said it.
Shut up. So Carnage is like, he's basically back from the dead, and he's like infecting everyone with like pseudo Carnages that are his minions.
Yeah.
And the Spider-Man's about to get sworn by them, and he says, "Where's the Sentry when you need him?"
Oh God.
Fucking hate the Sentry so much.
I literally was reading that comic, and I looked over at my buddy. I was like, "He's the best of us. He's the best of us."
Has the Hulk ever had a symbiote?
Yes, pretty
Probably.
much everyone on Earth.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, could you imagine if the Hulk had the Carnage symbiote? That'd be bad.
He's been venomized.
Yeah, I say venomized, yeah, but not
Yeah.
Carnage. You know, that'd be awful.
So, Sony, Marvel.
Figure it
I
out.
don't know. Figure it out, because none of us gives a shit who gets the paycheck. We just want our movies.
Right. We want Tom Holland. Don't
Yeah,
hurt Tom Holland.
Yeah, don't hurt Tom Holland. He's a national treasure, or something.
He's like Nick Cage.
I don't know about that.
Don't insult Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Oh, no, fuck you. Nicolas Cage won an Academy Award.
Ugh.
Don't.
For
He did The
a movie
Rock.
about drinking himself to death.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Put the bunny down.
What was that laugh?
It was a very.
All right.
I can get more obnoxious.
We've gotten to that point in the episode where we need to stop now.
Yeah, we're
So true. Anyone else got any more news? Too bad. Nobody cares.
Okay.
Anyway,
NC.
so thank you.
Hi-oh.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hateful Geeks. Please let us know on our Instagram and our Facebook. How do you feel about what side of this fence are you swinging for AI? Pro AI, or are you like in the right camp where you smash these metal motherfuckers into junk?
Are you in the Phil camp or the Sweeney camp?
The John Connor or the Luke Skywalker camp of
There you go.
how do you deal with smart machines?
There you go.
Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Phil.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
Big
Bleep
brother
the
is
word,
always
bleep.
watching.
Oh God, we didn't talk about Eagle Eye.
No.
Or the movie called AI.
I've never seen it. I've
Fuck
legit
that
never
movie.
seen
It's
that movie.
Pinocchio.
It is Pinocchio.
Yeah.
It's totally just Pinocchio. It's just Pinocchio with robots.
Yes.
Pinocchio's robots.
Oh, we
still
didn't
a
talk
movie
about
called
Bicentennial Man with
AI.
that's a fucking
I've legitimately never seen
Robin
it.
Williams film.
Robin Williams, Bicentennial Man, yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, I'm so glad we ignored those films.